going on, ladies and gentlemen? Dana here, and I'm going to call an on-market property today that's a potential Airbnb opportunity. I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I figured I would film it for YouTube and let you guys join me. You can critique me down in the comments and let me know how I did, assuming that this realtor answers the phone. So anyways, it's on market, and let's give it a shot.
Hi, this is Guy.
Guy, this is Dana, and I was hoping if you had a second to talk about your listing on Ponderosa Circle.
Sure.
So I'm a real estate investor, and I'm looking for a possible Airbnb opportunity, and just kind of looking around at some random ones, and thought I might call and see, maybe you could tell me a little bit about what's going on with this one. See, it's been on the market for over 4 months, and on and off the market since 2018.
Yeah. So the owner is in an inheritance, and her father passed away probably about a year ago.
Gotcha.
And so they had to go through probate and all that. And so then they brought it back on and immediately got sold, and then they backed out of the deal late in the transaction. So that's why it's been kind of on hit and miss on that one.
Yeah, just curious, I assume it didn't appraise, or was there some other reason it fell out?
No, it appraised. I can't remember what the deal was. I think what it was they were concerned about the HOA. And so the HOA is weak. It doesn't have, it's only got like $3,500 in the bank, and they need some building repairs and that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, obviously I assume that would come up if I was looking at it. So how, I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm an investor, and I personally, looking at what's sold in the area, I think it's still pretty high. So, I mean, I guess I'm kind of curious, how open are they to either an aggressive cash offer and or, potentially seller financing or something like that?
They might be. It's just two sisters, so they may be interested in that. They would probably look at something like that.
Yeah. I assume there's no mortgage on it if it went through probate and all that.
Yeah.
Actually,
there is a mortgage.
Okay. Do you have any idea what that looks like?
Not off the top of my head, but I'll tell you what, I'm sitting with some clients right now. I'll need to get back with you. Can I just call you back in a little bit?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, I'll give you a holler.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so maybe, obviously I need to dig in deeper on what the HOA issue is and building repairs that are needed compared to that, because I mean it's a multifamily. What I'm like, well, it's not multifamily. It's a townhome. So it looks like there's 4 units, and this is one of the 4 units, so that could be an issue. But I mean, if it's sold cheap enough and it's able to be rented on Airbnb, I'll look at it. So anyways, I'll pick up when he calls me back. This is Dana.
Yeah, this is Guy. Is it Dana or Dennis?
Dana.
Dana, okay. Yeah, this guy up in Payson with that 609 Ponderosa property.
Yeah.
And just get back with you.
Appreciate it. So I didn't get to ask you, I know you said it, so what is the, I guess just out of curiosity, the issues with the building that needs to be handled?
It needs landscaping. Some of the steps were made out of
railroad ties.
Yeah, railroad ties, exactly. Those need to be either repaired or replaced or whatever. There's just deferred maintenance, a little bit. Well, some of the siding on the building needs to be done. So there's work. There's things, and the gal that has it, that owns it now, she lives back east in Kansas, and she's coming back out here in another month or so. And then she's going to try, and we've been working or trying to pursue getting a HOA set up again, because what happened is about, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, I'm guessing, that 10 or 15 years ago, the HOA decided, hey, we could just hire a CPA and they could pay our bills. And so that's what they did. Well, he proudly states that he's not a manager, so he's not actively getting in front of what the items on the building need to be taken care of. So anyway, she's coming back out here in about a month, and she's going to remodel the place. Even though I told her not to, but she's going to remodel the place, and she's going to get everybody in a headlock, and if she can get 2 other tenants in there, or 2 other owners to get on board, then she'll set up an HOA, maybe figure out what they got to do to make the repairs, get it painted, get it cleaned up and touched up, taken care of. So that's kind of where it stands right now. It's kind of unfortunate, and that's the exact reason why that one deal fell out, is because the HOA situation.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw it was pending back in 2019 too. I don't know. I don't assume you were the agent back then.
I was the one that bought it with my client. My client passed away, and so that's how that turned out to be in a. What do you call it? Anyway, that's why it's in an estate, and his daughters have it.
Gotcha. So you don't know why it fell out back in 2019 for the same, for any...
No, I'm not sure about,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I wasn't involved in it then.
All right. I mean, obviously you assume there's a special assessment coming for if they're going to be redoing the siding and all that. Well,
right. I would hope so. It just makes sense for the owners, and the property. The building's awesome. There's one right next to it, and they're not connected in any way, but they were built by the same builder, and they are the same layout and all that. And they just go around and paint one side of the building once a year, and the place looks great, and everything's been brought up to snuff, and it's fantastic. But and I also know my buddy is the one that owned it before he passed away with COVID, and he had his 2x6 construction. His utilities electric was running around $112 or $120 a month. I think it was 12. So it's well insulated, it's well built. It's just not being managed or taken care of properly. To be honest. So.
Gotcha. All right. I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm looking for something that makes sense as an Airbnb. I've stayed at a few in the area there, and they're like 50-50 on quality for what's available over there. And so that it just made me kind of think, I'm like, maybe if I can get one reasonable enough that makes sense, I'll have my own and do it that way. I've had one before in different area, but obviously the place needs some updating before you could do that. You can't have carpet in the bathrooms, and
yeah, that's kind of weird. I guess they thought completely differently back in the 70s or whenever it was built. But
yeah, no, and I get it, and you can tell it hasn't been updated in a while. So honestly, really, that would just be where I'd be at on it. And like I said earlier, so I could figure out and put together potentially an aggressive cash offer, or if they're, like I said earlier, if they're open to seller financing, that might change a little bit. But I guess from your experience in the area, what are you thinking it would take to remodel the place and get it into a condition for rent ready there? I mean, I have a kind of rough number in my head, but just from the pictures you have.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically, the only thing that would really need to be done, you can update. You know, the kitchen's great. The appliances are all clean. You know, you changed all the outlets in the place. You got all that. So the biggest concern I would have would be the bathroom with the carpeting. I mean, that's a big one. And updating this. You know, the seat's really low. It's just old '70s stuff. You know, I would be in the $25,000 to $50,000 range.
Yeah,
You know, guessing.
yeah, that's about where I was thinking. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, if you're putting that much into it, you just have to factor that into the price. So,
Yeah. I think the best way, if you were interested or wanted to do something, is just basically maybe verbally or in an email, just lay it on the table and see if we get any interest, and then have a conversation.
yeah. And I know I asked you earlier. I don't think you said. I don't recall your answer if you said it, but you don't know what you said. There is a mortgage on this one still.
Yeah, there is. Mm-hmm.
And the kids.
I don't remember what it is, but it's probably 250-ish. I don't know. I'm guessing right now. It's been a while since I looked at that.
But they owe $250.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, because he only owned it for about a year or two at the most. So when COVID hit.
And this is, I'm looking at the right one, Ponderosa Apartment A.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm looking at a different. I didn't see a sale history in like forever. So it was listed in 2018, and then no record before that, but it doesn't show sold anywhere.
Yeah, let me pull it up and see what I got here. Go through all my files, see if I can.
You're good, man. No stress. I'm just, like I said, I had some time and I was looking at a few different properties, and you know, some of the townhomes over closer to Green Lake and
Green Valley, yeah.
Or yeah. So I might. But yours was the first one I called, and I said, because I saw, like I said, it could make sense, but like I said, I'm only interested I'm only interested if it makes sense for, you know, to turn it into Airbnb cash flow. Because if it doesn't, then you know
absolutely,
it's the market's not great for just regular rent in the area, at least from what I'm looking at.
I was wrong. So the pre-qual loan was for $157,000.
Gotcha. And when did that close?
And, that was back. This pre-qual was back in 9/11/19. So.
All right.
So you know, those records that you see on there are really slow to get them out. So a lot of times you won't see that stuff.
I use some investor software, and it's supposed to pull all that stuff for me. So.
Yeah, but it's probably coming from county, and county is slow.
Yeah, well, yeah, so, some of it has MLS access and some of it doesn't. So.
Yeah, right, gotcha. Anyway, so that's the story. That's you know, so he's got about 157 on it, and I don't know what it's paid down to after 2 years, but I'm sure not too terrible much.
No.
But and his daughter, he's got two daughters that are the ones that own it, and so yeah, you know, you might be able to intrigue them. The people I was meeting with when you called have one, and they have 5 siblings involved, and so that's a nightmare.
Yikes.
But this one's only got a couple gals. You know, they've been around Payson forever, so shooters, and yeah, if you want to throw something down, we can definitely have that conversation, or verbally do it, or whatever, and I can, send your email off to them and see what the kind of response they come back with.
Gotcha. What's your email? Gotcha. And out of curiosity, while I gotcha, you have any? I mean, obviously, I know you just said about potentially that one, but any other properties you have that might be of interest, or that I wouldn't have seen, that I wouldn't have seen on Zillow or MLS?
I've got one on Westerly. That was the group I just met with, and they've got an old, 1958 building that's been well kept, and it's a commercial property. So you could literally, I've got a buddy that I put his city storage business on the market around the corner from them, and he's getting $100-$150 a whack a month for all these RVs that he's got stored in there. And so you can use this property either as a commercial building, or as you could convert it into a duplex, or a business and a house set up, and it's all land. It's almost an acre. It's 0.8 acre. So you might just look up Westerly and Payson and see what pops up there. You'll see my listing there.
Gotcha.
And take a look at that. But it's got some interesting potential.
All right, sounds good. And then obviously, I mean, I'm not an agent. I'm an investor. But are you able to submit the offer and under? I don't know if you're able to do dual agency or not.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I can do that.
I figured, but just to make it easier, and obviously that you guys could work out whatever if it makes sense on any changes to commission or leaving it as is or whatever. That side don't matter to me, but just want to make it easy. So, all right, let me run some numbers, and I'll just shoot you a quick email, and probably best is just to have a verbal conversation with them and say, what do you think? I have cash, or I have, like I said, depending. I've done. Are you familiar with Subject 2?
No, what is that?
So there's seller financing where they would basically act as a bank. Subject 2 basically is where you would sign a contract that has me take over the existing mortgage, assuming that it makes sense, with the payment, interest rate. Obviously the interest rates are just trash right now. And so say that one from 19, if it's at a reasonable rate and a reasonable payment, then, normally it makes more sense for a Subject 2 if they've been paying on it for 10 years or more. 2 years is, a 50-50. But basically I wouldn't have to go apply for a new loan or something like that, which I wouldn't do anyways. It would be either cash or seller or something like that. But anyways, you would take it over, and then if there's a difference between the balance owed on the mortgage and the accepted offer price, then that would just be paid off, either financed or paid off in cash, and it just takes over the loan and makes the payments to the bank. So it's,
end up digging it a little deeper. I haven't heard that one, but
yeah, it's pretty common in the investor world, but it's not super common on normal properties, because people want to get their money out of it and move on and buy a new property. But obviously the owner of the property is not going to go buy another property, so they still get the same amount of money. I just don't have to come up with the cash out of pocket to for that $150,000 of it, right? Because that would already be financed on a loan, and makes it a lot easier to make it make sense. Because obviously you're gonna have the $40,000-$50,000 out of pocket to get the thing up to speed. I mean, because I was looking at some of the other ones that had sold. The only other ones I saw that like really sold had been, stainless steel appliances and granite counters, and that's kind of what's the stuff that needs work is sitting right now, and that's the only ones I'm calling on, because I can do the work to get it there, but I don't have contractors up in the Payson area right now, so I'd either have to send somebody from the valley, I'm in Goodyear, or hire somebody from the area and figure that out. But
Right.
Obviously, I mean, I could send you the details on it, but that's all that would look like. Is it
Okay.
if they sold it for just a I'm going to use a stupid number just for the example, but say it sold for they accepted an offer of 160 and they owed 150 on the mortgage. I would just pay them the $10,000 cash and then take over the mortgage, and it's the same or more than they would have gotten as selling it off. Well, it's more than they would get if they sold it on the market with all the extra stuff, but
Yeah. Okay.
but that would all depend. I'd have to see what the payment is and what the rate that they had, because if it's not advantageous to do it, then it doesn't make sense for anybody. But
Yeah, 3.875
yeah, so that's
was the
almost
interest rate.
half. You don't know the payment though.
Loan payment is 740.
All right, yeah, that's probably reasonable. Okay.
All right.
Well, that helps. So I'll look at that in a number too, and then because like I said, I mean, there's lots of different ways to do it now. That especially with the interest rates changing, that I've got buddies that buy apartment complexes on, subject to, and much bigger numbers than we're looking at right here. But
Oh yeah. That's cool though. I'll definitely know about that a lot more by the next day or two.
awesome.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, go ahead and sketch up something if you want, and I'll present it and see if we can have a conversation.
All right, man. Appreciate you, sir. Have a good one.
Thank you, Dan.
Bye. All right. Well, I'll keep you updated. I'm going to type him an email, cover some quick numbers, and we'll see.